In November of 2023, the Swell Pod took a 10-day journey across 5 states, traveling 3,580 miles with one challenge in mind.
And that challenge was to interview 100 pleasantly rebellious humans to uncover deep truths about what it takes to create something that has never existed before, challenge the status quo, maybe even change the world.
This is the Kiln Road Trip, created and produced by the Swell Pod.
In partnership with Kiln, Moterra Camper Vans, and sponsored by Taurus.
I'm Spencer McKeown.
And I'm Josh Taylor, and together we're the co-hosts of the Swell Pod and your guides on the Kiln Road Trip. Follow along on the journey.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, follow the Swell Pod on social media, and subscribe to your YouTube channel at, you guessed it, the Swell Pod.
This is interview 102 of the Kiln Road Trip, and today we're at the Kiln Cabin up in Sundance, Utah. While this is one of the last interviews that we conducted on the Kiln Road Trip, we wanted to get this episode out early enough to be relevant for what our guests are talking about today. Today we're talking with Kevin Deneen, founder and CEO of Moterra Camper Vans, and Carly Driscoll, owner and operator of Wasatch Back Media. Together they're here to talk about the Nordica Connect Tour 2024 that's happening now. Super exciting. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed today's episode.
Kevin and Carley, welcome. I want to say welcome back because, Carley, you were the only guest that got in here twice. Well done to you.
Oh, my.
But welcome to the Kiln Road Trip and being one of the 101 interviews. I think we've got more than 100. So, yeah, well done. Yeah, welcome, Kevin and Carley.
Thanks for having us.
Good to see you.
So let's kick it off.
This is a different one. So let's like the fact that we have both of you guys here. Let's just start there and help our audience understand, how did we end up with you both here at this table to talk to us?
And also just remind us what the connection is with yourself and the van.
Yeah. So I'll do a quick intro.
That'd be cool.
My name is Kevin Deneen. I'm one of the founders of Moterra Camper Vans. We sponsored the tour that you guys have been on, and you guys have been rocking one of our vans, having a lot of fun, which is what most people do. And so we're based in Utah and 6 other places, and I live here in Park City with my girlfriend, and I've been working out at Kiln since November of last year. Pretty quickly, when did we meet? When was that fateful?
Oh, that fateful kitchen day.
Yeah, tell us about that moment when you guys met. And also, Carly, if you can just introduce yourself as well. And then let's talk about that moment.
Cool. Yeah, I'm Carly Driscoll. I own and operate Wasatch Back Media, but I'm also the North American Women's Project Manager for Nordica Skis and Boots. And what we're talking about today is the reason why we're able to do what we're going to do here soon is because of Moterra and Kevin. And that day we met in the kitchen at Kiln.
Tell us more.
Literally.
Was it good food?
I don't remember
good
the
coffee.
food. I'll tell it from my perspective.
Okay,
so the cool thing, I was quite new to Kiln. I don't remember when it was. It must have been a month or two after I had joined, and I just kind of heard this a crowd talking. I heard a dull roar in the distance. So I was kind of wandered in there, and I had no idea what was going on. It turned out there was a meeting that had just ended, and everybody was hanging out in the kitchen. Approached a group of people, one of which was Carly, and we just got to chatting, and we started talking about what we do. And I told her that I run a camper van business, and she was like, "Oh, you would be great for this Nordica tour that I'm planning, and we should talk." And here we are, almost 12 months later. So very organic meeting, and that led to some really cool opportunities. We couldn't be more excited to have worked with you guys on this podcast tour, but to also be working with Nordica on the Connect Tour, which is
Well, we're hoping we gave you some belief that it can be done, these road trips. We didn't crash.
Yeah, I mean, it's so crazy. When I joined Kiln, which was maybe a few months before you, the whole point was to get in there, meet people, network. I was working from home, the typical story. I was kind of tired of talking to myself. And what Kevin said, I had been working on this project for many months. This is a 3-year business strategy coming to life, but then really 10 months of trying to get this across the finish line with Nordica to approve it. And so wrote the strategy. I'm not kidding, 5 times, did the budget 6 or 7 times. It wasn't working. And then literally met Kevin. I mean, it's you can't even make this up.
Synchronicity right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did talk about I think the original concept of what it is that you're trying to do. We have the whole episode about it. Well, not the whole one, but could you just introduce people who maybe are just listening to this about what it is that you're setting out to do?
Yeah, so Nordica is really setting out to build community for women. So creating space within the ski community to welcome and invite women to have just a fun day and to make friends and make connections. It's called the Connect Tour. So the whole point is to show up, create an environment that Nordica is hosting, but really it's about bringing women together. So, in the ski industry, there's a pretty big decline when women hit in their 30s. You kind of see if they're in if they're ski school as a profession or just participating in the sport, they start having kids and they just fall out. And so we want to be there to create a space for people that want to stay because they're just having so much fun in the sport. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And was it just a conversation and you're like, oh, this is a perfect fit? Or was there between the two parties, was it just like some debate or some conversation, or were you just all in right when you heard about it?
No debate so far.
No debate so far, but we haven't hit the road yet.
Yeah.
We do not have the van in our possession yet. It's about to get wrapped. So yeah, Kevin, I said, hey, look, Nordica has been looking at buying a van, but the capital expense for that is really steep. For Nordica, this is going to be a really out of the box type of marketing that they've never done before, and to do it specifically for women as well, right?
Okay.
So they're really committed to this, but we're really scared for investing in a van and then you have to build it out. And Kevin's like, well, we have a whole fleet and they're already built out and they're sweet and you could just rent it. And I was like, whoa. Unlock. Yeah. Okay, we can do this. And honestly, working with Kevin has been just insane. He's so professional and it's been really easy. Motera is premium brand, high end. They are really good at communication, and Nordica is really kind of specific with who we partner with, because we're a premium brand. We hold margins pretty hard, and we produce really high-end products. They come straight out of Mittersill, Austria. So, and not only are you partnered with us, but he's also connected us to Rumpel Blankets, who are now a partner. We're working with a couple other premium brands to bring the experience to life.
Yeah, it's humbling to hear from we're kind of a small up and coming, we're growing quickly, but to have a brand like Nordica be so psyched to work with us. And I mean, all the pain points that she talked about are kind of exactly what we do for primarily people going on vacation, but it's exactly that. Vans are an incredible tool to use to travel, and hopefully preaching to the converted at this point.
100%.
And yeah, so that's our kind of hope, but it's a huge expense. And, unless you're really, really lucky, you don't have quite the time flexibility to be using it all the time. So exactly, this was a perfect use case for us to come in and solve a problem for somebody. And again, we couldn't be bigger fans of the mission behind the Connect Tour that Carley is really spearheading, and have a ton of respect for Nordica as a brand. And we're just smitten about what's going on. We're excited to get it live.
That's great.
So part of the mission behind this whole tour, I said, is, to bring women into the sport. But we have partnered with Shejumps, which is a nonprofit. Nordica has partnered with Shejumps for this will be our 3rd year. And Motera has decided to work with us in the sense of keeping, the partnership relatively economical for the brand in order to, we have a goal of raising $50,000 for Shejumps. And so it's because of partners like Motera, Wild Rice, Skida, Rumpel, that are bringing resources together to help Nordica do this. So not only are we building a community of women, but we're also trying to partner with other brands to do good work. Shejumps' mission is to bring women and girls into the outdoors. And we have partnered the last 2 years with their Icon Snowpack Scholarship, which brings 100% of women of color into the sport through scholarships, where we then give them skis and boots. And so Motera is going to also provide, a giveaway for the raffle at the stops that we're going to run, and to raise that money and hopefully reach our goal. So at the end, we'll all meet up in Sun Valley and hopefully be able to present the check. But really what that does is it allows us to donate a larger sum of money to allow them unrestricted funds. So to help their operational expenses, nonprofits really rely on that. But then also we can direct some of that money to increase their programming with Icon. And Icon came on board and really helped us with the resort partnerships. And so they are also like, where is this van coming from? This thing is sweet. They're like, wow. And so hopefully, we are all getting exposure for the businesses.
So success looks like what, $50,000 raised, or at least, a significant amount for
Nordica, or for shejumps, sorry. Yeah.
For shejumps.
Yeah.
And success for you, that's why you're involved, right? What does success look like then from you, the Nordica? I mean, I guess just getting this thing done, right, and having a good experience. And then I'm also interested in Kevin's response there, what success looks like at the end of this.
Yeah, that is the number one question, and so I think that, of course, it looks like raising money and exposure for shejumps, but also ultimately we want to increase our women's business. We believe that the product we make for women gives them the confidence to feel good on snow. But it's really about the joy of skiing. We all love skiing, whether you're brand new to the sport, you've been doing it your whole life, you're 5 years old or 95 years old. And so we really want to see people making connections. Like, if people are making connections, and hopefully after an event, they maybe meet another woman at that event, and then that becomes their ski partner, and then they form a group, and then they're out skiing. Or it's a new mom that is like, I'm so scared to take my kids skiing, and she meets another mom. Or it's a 25-year-old girl that like is just getting into the sport and doesn't know anybody, and learns how to navigate the mountain better through that. But I don't actually know what Motera feels is success of this.
Yeah, I mean, involvement. I mean, we're enthused about this on so many levels. I think, like, on a personal level, for me, I'll address Motera in a second. The story that Carly told of just a woman falling out of skiing when kids came is like the story of my mom, and I so love the mission of what's going on with shejumps and just what Nordica does. My girlfriend skis Nordica skis. She loves them. She loves like everything about them. It's a great product. It's great. It's just a brand that's very well positioned to speak to women, which is awesome. So we're just incredibly excited to be able to support a brand like that and a mission like this. But yeah, I mean, Motera's mission really at the core is to make it easier for people to get outdoors and experience the places that we love the most. My co-founders and I all grew up, and we're very lucky to grow up in places where we had easy access to the outdoors. We were raised in families and amongst communities where, as I like to say, the outdoors were bred into us at an early age. But not everybody had that experience and grew up in a different place or had the same kind of support structure around. And so what we're like, the core of what we're trying to do through camper van rentals, itinerary planning, and other products is to just kind of demystify the experience, because there's so much power in getting outside with your family or friends or some group of people you care about. And just exploring, having these like core experiences that have been the most formative experiences of my life, whether it was growing up skiing or just hiking or camping with the family. And like it's a special experience that unfortunately is not living in a place like Utah or Colorado, where I grew up. It's much more common than it is a lot of other places. But so, our kind of primary demographic is people that are coming in from cities where they don't have such easy access. The city is not Salt Lake, where it's right next to the mountains, right? And so they're coming out and showing their kids these experiences and places that they've had. And so this is a little bit different. We're kind of new to working directly with brands and kind of experiences like this, but it's like, so it's kind of a different flavor of what we do in our core business. And so we're incredibly excited to be getting experience with such a great group of partners and with a great group of humans. And so we haven't articulated in a spreadsheet exactly what success looks like, but we don't need to, because it really doesn't matter. Just we're so happy to be a part of it and be contributing to this, because it's so core to like what we're doing in the first place.
That's great. I've mentioned it before, but one of our guests, Richard, but he calls them non-outcomes. So we really
Richard Banfield.
Yeah. But non-outcomes. It's like when you know something's just right, it's going to be
Great word.
It's just going to be win-win for everyone. You don't need to worry about the metrics necessarily right now.
The metrics will come.
Yeah.
And it's something that like the brand is looking at, but of course they're looking at that, right? To look at the ROI on this investment. However, it's not going to come right away. This is experiential marketing. It's brand marketing. It's event activation, and that takes time to kind of bleed through into the business to show growth. But like in a year, maybe 2, they'll start to see like demand for the product. It's a little interesting because we're B2B, the ski industry. I think we talked about this on the other podcast, so I won't go into the weeds on it, but it's as a brand, you lose connection with your consumer when you sell B2B, and we rely on key accounts and our relationships with retailers and resorts. And so what's been really cool to see is partnering with Motera Mountain Company, who is Icon, and they have owned resorts where they own the properties, and then they have partnerships where like Alta, Snowbird, Boyne, Sugarloaf, those are all just partnered where your Icon Pass works there. It has been really cool to see their commitment to, growing women in leadership within Altera resorts, and also just their commitment to the broader, scope of making skiing more accessible by having an Icon Pass. We're actually going to end the tour in Sun Valley. And if you think back to like the 1950s, Sun Valley put destination skiing on the map. They ran this huge campaign where they brought in all the celebrities, and it was this like whole thing to get exposure to this destination skiing. And so I look at Icon Altera as like the modern version of destination skiing, right? They are destination skiing. They're making it accessible for city people to experience the mountains and be able to travel quicker and easier to say, oh, like our family wants to vacation, this year at Stratton in Vermont, and next year we want to go explore Deer Valley in Utah, and you can kind of have one pass and do it all. And so I think that's really cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
We've got one last question. Or you...
No, I just think it's so just tell us again the journey that you're going to be going on. So from start to end. So ending in Sun Valley, but yeah.
So Kevin and I are going to get this van wrapped, which he is going to help tremendously with. He's also working with Field Van, which is your partner. To get the rack, we have to figure out how to get 30 pairs of skis in this thing.
No way.
As well as our tents.
That's going to be nuts.
No, maybe.
You have
but
to sleep
I
in
mean,
them.
I know. I keep telling so I have a girl who's coming on board and working with me who will be driving the van across the country, and I keep being like, Rainey, like, you need to sleep in this thing. It's going to be so cool. You can park in the lots, go ski powder when it snows. But
she hasn't seen it yet. She'll definitely sleep in it by the time she gets eyes on it.
Once you pop the top
nice.
up?
Yeah, totally.
What are you talking
Hold
about?
on, let's not get into this right now.
Did you guys have fun? Did you sleep in it together?
We'll talk about that in a minute.
So we're going to get the van wrapped. Yeah. We're actually going to do a little dry run with the Motera guys. Hopefully some of the Kiln staff will come out. Maybe you guys can come. Yeah. We need to practice run this thing. And then she's going to set off. I don't know what you say. Go Motera.
Christen it with a bottle of champagne or something.
No, a bottle of bubble water. There's no drinking and driving.
Yeah. Good point.
There's actually no drinking on this tour. No, she's going to hit the road on January 10th, and she's going to drive from Salt Lake all the way back to New England. So the Nordica U.S. headquarters is in West Lebanon, New Hampshire. And so we will go back to New Hampshire. We're actually all going to fly in. There's a team of 5 women, myself, Rainey, we have Blake, Allie, and Hannah. It's 5 of us that are the Nordica women's team. And we will kick it off in Sugarloaf, Maine. Claire Smallwood, the executive director of Shejumps, is flying in. Her first time ever skiing in New England. So bringing that West Coast baby to the east, show her some good solid ice, and we'll kick it off at Sugarloaf, and then it goes Maine to Stratton, Vermont. We're actually having Claire come and talk about the mission of Shejumps at the headquarters for the entire company. And then we'll go to the Midwest. So we'll go to Michigan, Boyne Highland, Boyne Mountain. Then we're coming all the way across. We're going to do a little athlete thing in Whitefish. Then we'll go to Schweitzer, Idaho. The van will come down to Utah, take a slight break. Then we're going to do Solitude. And then we'll pop over to Steamboat Springs, Colorado. Come back, we'll do Deer Valley. Then we go to California, we do Mammoth. Then we go up to Northern California, we do Palisades. And then we'll finish the tour in Sun Valley, Idaho.
Oh my goodness.
That is a
Maybe
journey.
we didn't really do a road trip.
Yeah.
You guys did well, but she's definitely one up and you.
Yeah, for sure.
And the miles.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, though.
Yeah.
If you have no stay in a hotel that whole time, okay, that's my challenge for you.
Oh,
This is like a 2-month tour, not a
This is-
day
yeah,
thing. It's
this
a
is
little bit
like-
different.
yeah, this is like
Time.
a 3-month tour timeline. It's
Great stuff. It's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, we had so Spencer's alluding it. We had our own little debates and things like that on whether or not we should stay in hotels. And Spencer,
Obviously not. It's a road trip.
yeah. So Spencer stayed in the
Love
in the
that.
van the entire time.
you did? You
He
stayed
did.
in the whole time.
I was stubborn enough to go, this is where we're staying.
I did.
How
I
did it
did.
treat you?
It was great, apart from one night where there was someone was ripping up the road from about 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. in the morning. That was
Yeah.
horrendous. But every other time it
You
was
can't control the
fantastic.
environment outside the
No,
van,
but these,
I stayed in a hotel a couple nights. I also camped inside of Kiln a couple nights.
Oh.
I will say I did drive like 90% of the time though.
You did.
But it drove like a dream. I will say that. I finished and I was like, I just want to keep driving this thing. I don't need to drive my car. It just felt good. It's a good drive.
It's incredibly smooth. It's
Yeah.
kind of an intimidating vehicle for a lot of people, but then when you do
Yeah.
2 or 3 turns, you're like, oh, this is no big deal.
Yeah, for sure.
I've got one last question then.
Yeah, go for it. Yep.
You got.
No, I'm done. Yeah.
So just on a slightly different take on, what does it take to create something that didn't exist before, but specifically partnerships like this, right? You've collided, a lot of people don't bother like having those conversations, or maybe they just don't find the right connection. I'm not sure, but what does it take to create a partnership that didn't exist before?
Before we get into the rest of the episode, we want to thank the partners and sponsors who made the Kiln Road Trip possible. The Kiln Road Trip is brought to you by Kiln. Kiln is a boutique co-working and flex office community with 13 locations in 6 states across the West, dedicated to providing innovative workspaces that empower your team to thrive. Whether you're a solo visionary or an enterprise-level team of up to 100, Kiln transcends being merely a place to work. It's a hub for learning and connecting with like-minded professionals that will make you and your team love where you work.
And if you haven't stepped foot inside a kiln yet, you really need to. On this road trip, we visited every single location, and trust us when we say once you see these beautifully designed spaces, meet the talented team, and connect with fellow members, you won't want to work anywhere else.
Locations include Utah, Colorado, Idaho, Oregon, California, and Arizona. And they're growing too, with multiple locations set to open in 2024.
Yeah, so be sure to check out the kiln locations nearest you by booking a tour at kiln.com and answer Swell in the question, how did you hear about us? Once you complete the tour, you'll be entered into a competition where you could win a 1-year membership, their club membership at Kiln.
Yep, you heard that. That's kiln.com, book a tour, and be sure to mention Swell in the question, how did you hear about us?
The Kiln Road Trip is also brought to you by Moterra Camper Vans, a luxury camper van rental company for iconic road trips. Their top-of-the-line vans are available at 7 locations located near America's best outdoor adventure destinations. They have consistently earned the highest customer ratings in the industry, making Moterra Camper Vans your gateway to adventure without sacrificing on comfort or service.
That's true, and initially we wanted to take this journey in a 1960s VW bus, but thankfully we found Motera instead. With 3 van options, we took the Pop Top Classic, which sleeps 4 and is best for those who want to maximize floor space and storage. This was critical for us because it needed to sleep the entire crew, we needed space to edit, and we were traveling with large amounts of equipment, luggage, and other goodies that we picked up along the way.
And this van took us through all 3,580 miles of the trip. Super comfortable and sweet to drive.
And actually, Motera offers fully planned itineraries if you'd rather leave the planning to someone else.
Visit gomotera.com/swell. That's gomotera.com/swell.
This episode is also brought to you by Taurus. Taurus is leading the charge in home energy storage. Taurus makes it easy to achieve energy independence and a greener tomorrow. The Taurus Station provides everything you need to generate clean power, efficiently store electricity, and easily manage your energy use.
And installing a Taurus station offers plenty of benefits, including save money on your electricity bill,
Also, ensure energy security with backup power during outages.
reduce carbon emissions with renewables,
You can also automate EV charging and HVAC systems with 100% renewables.
and enjoy unrivaled system monitoring and support.
If you like the sound of those benefits, get a quote to build your Taurus station in less than 30 seconds. Super easy at taurus.co. That's TORUS.co. Now, let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, I think I don't know. My take would be energy and openness, but then also, I mean, frankly, just I think this story is an example of a lot of innovation and collaboration is born out of necessity. We have an asset, these cool vans, and we are looking for new ways to get involved in the community and get exposure with a relevant audience. And we found somebody that needed a van and had community exposure, a bunch of things that like really benefit us, and was looking at a way to shave $150,000 or $200,000 out of a budget, which is just kind of, I don't know, it's like those would be three things that come to mind, and just kind of like the trifecta of what we do as innovators.
Yeah, that's great insights.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything you said. I think it's just connections and you see, I'm a big brand marketing girl, so I really value the companies and the brands that take time to really like root themselves in who they are, why they exist, and what value they bring. So, for me, Kiln, that was really amazing when I came into the space, but then have watched Kiln grow. It's like staying very consistent. The branding is on point. It creates like ease of mind when you walk in, and knowing, like, meeting Kevin in there and seeing your branding, to me, I know that sounds silly, but I think that it really like builds trust with companies when you see solid branding and then communication coming out of that. So responsiveness, communication, solid foundations.
Shared
Fantastic.
mission.
Shared
Yeah.
mission.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shared mission is a great one, isn't it? Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Thanks for being one of two of 100 plus.
Thanks
Plus.
for including
Good
us.
work, guys.
Yeah.
No, thank you. And
Good luck on your... Go ahead. No,
Talk about
Is there another
trust.
question?
Talk about
Sorry.
trust. We need to take another photo of your Polaroid.
Oh, yeah, we missed the
okay.
Polaroid.
Oh, gotcha.
Well, and I had to draw you with a permanent marker, just as a skier coming down the slopes. And I think you
Nice.
probably need a new one.
Need to upgrade. Well, we really appreciate you giving some exposure to what we're trying to do, and it would be kind of cool to follow up at the end and see like
That's a great
what
idea.
happened. How
Love
did
that.
it? Are we still friends? Are we still
I'm
there?
sure we
No, I
will
was just
be.
kidding.
We'll have a lot of new stories. That's
a lot
for
of
sure.
new stories.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of new friends.
Let's put it on the slate. Let's get everybody back together once you're done, and yeah,
that'd be cool.
would love to hear
2
about
years,
it.
right? The road trip was 2 years long. All right, great
All
stuff.
right, thanks you guys. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Kiln Road Trip. Be sure to follow along on the rest of the journey, and you can do that in two ways. One, subscribe to the podcast, whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or maybe even watching on YouTube, and follow along on all of our social media platforms, whether you're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok, @the Swell Pod. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode.